What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Straight Betting. Got some week 2 props. Dropping this on Saturday morning, so all these lines should be good. I locked in most of them pretty recently, so should be good to go. But yeah, guys, no video yesterday. Honestly, full transparency, I only had like one play. Work was pretty busy this week, so didn't have a ton of time during the week to look at props and stuff like that. So apologies for this being like a day late, I guess, but still plenty of time to lock these in before Sunday. So yeah, with that being said, man, I don't really got much else to say. I guess Thursday night football went fine. I had a really good read. Eckler, prayers up, by the way, with the Achilles thing. That's sad to see for a guy who's just had such a good NFL career. But had Eckler, first quarter props and stuff. Didn't get there on the rushing, but did get there for rushing and receiving. The thing that kind of sucks is that the Commanders had 5 offensive touches in the first quarter because they couldn't stay on the field. And Eckler got 4 of them. So he got 80% of the touches, and we couldn't even, hit both first quarter props, which kind of stinks. But, we move. Anyways, guys, let's get into the props. First one is going to be a little bit different. It's an angle that, like I said, I'm trying to attack a little bit more this year, and I'm on the wrong game, of course. But we're going with Malik Neighbors under 26.5 on his longest reception. Like I said, this one's kind of weird. Let's see if this number's still there. Wow. So it looks like this one actually did move. So there's going to be some 25.5s out there. That's totally fine. FanDuel has this all the way down to minus 108. So yeah, 25.5 is fine. Maybe place like 0.8 units instead of 1. So, but yeah, still a fan of that. Like I said, this one's kind of weird, guys. So my reasoning behind this Malik Neighbors play, weirdly enough, man, Dallas's defense was super impressive in week 1. They held Devontae Smith and AJ Brown to a combined 20% target share, which is insane, but not as insane as this. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith had 12 combined air yards. 12 the entire game, which is insane. So they did not let them push the ball down the field whatsoever. The wide receivers didn't even get targets. So yeah, man. I mean, that's a good sign, right, for this under, I guess. I know that I took a slate in the longest reception over because I'm like, oh, Russ is this upgrade. Yeah, maybe he is for deep passing, dude, but like Russ looked so ass in week 1. So the O-line looked bad, Russ looked bad. The passing offense is not like much improved from last year, to be honest. If we just go to this is just Neighbors' career, right? He is under in what is this? Oh, cool. Well, this is a 23.5 number. So I got it a little bit better. So yeah, he's under in 11 out of 16 games for his career. That had me stumbling because I'm looking at my write-up over here. But yeah, he's under in 11 out of 16 games anyways to start his career. So yeah, this offense has not been great for Malik. And yeah, just given this feels a tad high given given how Dallas really locked down on Smith and AJ Brown. So yeah, limiting, if Dallas can limit Philly's explosive plays, given Saquon and the O-line and the threat of the run, Hurts, all that stuff, plus the receiving weapons, I think that they can limit the explosive plays from the New York Giants. And unfortunately for Malik Neighbors here, I think he's going to be the one who doesn't get much going downfield here. So I think the volume can be here for sure. Would not be surprised if Dallas puts up points and forces them to pass, but then it's going to be even more prevent defense and stuff like that. So yeah, Malik Neighbors under 26.5 longest reception. Didn't get the odds in there. I played it at like minus 115 at 365. Like I said, 25.5 is good for 0.8 units. All right, let's move on to play number 2, guys. I'm actually starting off with 3 unders, which is different, but yeah, trying to incorporate more unders, right? Because if you're telling someone, guys, who's just betting straight overs, like they're just like dopamine betting, like straight up. They're not actually like trying to win money. They're just like over this, over that. Let's like have fun and watch the game. And I fall victim of that sometimes too. But I'm trying to incorporate more unders. So Next one, I am rolling with Michael Pittman under 48.5 receiving yards. I believe I put that at minus 114 at FanDuel. That was another one that I played last night. So let's see if that's there. Where's Denver and Indiana? Okay. Did I just scroll past it? Yeah, Michael. Okay, so perfect. FanDuel minus 114, same exact number. Looks like there's some good numbers on the exchanges as well, ProphetX and Novig. If you guys aren't on those, click the link down below and get started. Use my code and get you started with that. But yeah, anyways, guys, Surtain, he shadowed Ridley pretty much for the most part, right? I think there was a number of like 80 or 85% of his snaps were on Calvin Ridley. Obviously, guys, PS2, Pat Surtain, he's an outside corner. The outside receivers on this team, for the most part, are going to be Pittman and Alec Pierce. I do not think Pat Surtain is going to waste his time with Alec Pierce, who's like a 2 to 3 target a game guy. So I fully expect Michael Pittman to see a ton of Pat Surtain here, who is the best cornerback in the game. Depoy last year as a corner, he's the best cornerback in the game. Denver, their pass rush is also very, very good. Obviously a small sample size, but they were good last year too. But they did have the highest pressure rate in week 1. This pass rush is good, like I said, man. Daniel Jones, he is like just known for being bad under pressure. I don't have the numbers in front of me or anything, but Daniel Jones, I think we've all seen him play under pressure. He's not very good. And I know he looked good in week 1. We'll see how he looks against probably the best defensive football. So still think there's a decent chance that Daniel Jones isn't very good. And if he doesn't look good in this game, would not shock me if he had like a classic 150, 160-yard Danny Dimes game. Would not shock me here whatsoever. So yeah, man. Obviously, this team's going to be run heavy with Jonathan Taylor. So even if Daniel Jones like isn't a complete pumpkin against his pass rush, I just think this is a more favorable matchup for Josh Downs, who is very good, very slept on. Tyler Warren proved to be a beast. There's a lot of target competition. This game reeks of like a poor passing game for Daniel Jones, but also if it's going to be a game for anyone, I fully expect it to be this guy right here, Tyler Warren, or Josh Downs. So taking the under on Michael Pittman Jr., under 48.5. Receiving yards, selling high a little bit. Guys, if you haven't noticed a trend here, or you will notice a trend here, I'm all about buying low and selling high, especially in week 2. Like, I'm not even like really touching many overs if they had a good game previously. Like, just being honest, that might not be great because some of this stuff might still have value. But yeah, trying to buy low and sell high here. Third straight under. If you guys haven't clicked off the video already because you're bored to death, Chuba Hubbard, taking him under 14.5 receiving yards, minus 110 at DK. I believe that this is pretty much at like every single book, but let's go find her. Yeah, Chuba Hubbard, where is he at? There we go. Okay, so it looks like, yep, DK is still minus 110. There's pretty much good at every single book. So yeah, man, Chuba, if we go to with Bryce Young, let's see, yep, just with Bryce Young is what I use, I think. Actually, no, with Bryce Young, and then last year with Bryce Young, he was under in 8 out of 12 games. That's not really the point. He only averaged 7.3 receiving yards, actually. Kind of strange. He had a good game in week 1. Not going to buy too much into that. Guys, what really sold me on this play is that Saints running backs last week, they had a 5% target share against the Cardinals, who obviously the Panthers are playing. 5% target share. And guys, the Saints have Alvin Kamara, who is typically going to be one of your highest target share running backs in the league, right? And you can maybe make the case like, Derek Carr, check down King's not there. I don't care, bro. Alvin Kamara is just one of the best receiving backs in the league. And to see a team with him on it have a 5% target share to the running backs makes me think that, the Cardinals might be doing a little something to, take away those flats, or they're playing a specific coverage that's taking away those flats, because that's just like a really, really low mark. It was like the second lowest in the NFL. And, the Saints just like aren't going to be a team, with Alvin Kamara, who is near the bottom of like targets for running backs and stuff. So yeah, that really popped for me. Chuba had a 48% route participation in week 1. Rico Dowdle, he's getting all the long down and distance work. He's getting all the 2-minute work. They're down big, which, could happen. It's going to be Rico Dowdle on the field for the most part, though. Yeah, Chuba's going to be kind of a workhorse on early downs and stuff, but yeah, like when it comes to passing downs and stuff, like Chuba is very far from a full-time running back like receiving role on this team. So yeah, man, Chuba stayed under way more than he did last year. Cardinals just not allowing any targets to the running backs on the Saints really popped for me. And yeah, guys, like Chuba's, 14 and a half is like you know, a number I think for, a running back who's getting damn near most of the receiving work, especially unless they're super talented. So yeah, just think this line's a tad high, man. Usually this line is like around like 9.5 for Chuba. I think we're getting like a 5 yard increase after big game one, and yeah, just seeing that the cards didn't really allow shit targets to the running backs on the Saints. Happy to hop on this under. All right. Speaking of buying low, we're gonna get into two overs. This one is like the definition of a buy low. AJ Brown over 72.5 receiving yards. Okay, guys. So this one, I actually played this at 67.5. I'm tracking it at this at this 72.5 number. Looks like it's at 73 at FanDuel now. And DraftKings even moved it up. Guys, Bet365, their API, whatever, to connect to see the odds doesn't really work at any odd screens for whatever reason. But I think this is still going to be at 67.5 because MGM and 365 tend to mirror odds. But 73.5 is good. I'd probably stop at 74.5. Look, AJ Brown's a stud. He is very, very good at football. He was over in 9 out of 17 games last year. That's not too impressive. Looks like he had a couple downers. Of course, guys, Dallas Goedert's out. AJ Brown's probably going to have like a 30% target share this week. Of course, you got the narrative, man. This dude had one target last game. I'd be shocked if, their scripted plays aren't heavily trying to get him going early. We've seen AJ be a diva before, like he's definitely not a guy to be happy coming off of a one target game. Like I said, man, think that they really, really go out of their way to get him, get him going early. And yeah, man, like you take out Goddard, it's going to be like Kylan Granson, Grant Calcaterra. I mean, these dudes are not receiving threats whatsoever. And then, yeah, in week one against KC too, if you guys remember from last year, KC was a massive pass funnel. They were very good against the run. In week one, KC, they played the Chargers, who's definitely going to be one of the better passing attacks in the league, but they did allow the second most wide receiver receiving yards in week one, only behind the Ravens, who obviously got kind of torched by Josh Allen. So the Chargers in week one, though, man, like they're supposed to be this run heavy team with Harbaugh, Roman, and stuff like that, right? Like that's just how they are philosophically. The Chargers in week one had the highest pass rate over expected in the NFL. Chiefs also allowed 82% of Herbert's targets to go to wide receivers. Obviously, that's pretty correlated with like the receiving yards number, but that 82% mark of targets to the wide receivers was the highest in the NFL in week one. So yeah, man, I think this Chiefs team is going to be, decently vulnerable, tougher to run on for sure, which is important. But yeah, AJ Brown, man, love playing narratives in football because most of the stuff, these plays are scripted and stuff like that. Stuff like this, I think, is an edge in football. So yeah, buying low on AJ Brown, think it's a good matchup. Think it is an amazing spot, and I will happily take AJB here. All right. Next up, this one is weird. I'm taking Ramondre Stevenson over 7.5 first quarter rushing yards. That was minus 107 at DK. When I played it, there was a minus 112 at FanDuel too. And I do not think that people are necessarily lining up to bet Ramondre Stevenson props. So I think that one should stay about the same. But yeah, Ramondre Stevenson, the first quarter prop, obviously this is just going to be like a full game prop and whatnot. But yeah, man. So I know that there was some reports earlier today that people are probably going to comment down below. Like, oh, they did say that they're going to switch up the snaps. Maybe it was a very weird quote that a reporter reported. A reporter reported. But I listened to what Vrabel said. I didn't really necessarily think he said it that way, but yeah, and maybe that is the case. But like similar to the Eckler reasoning on Thursday, like Stevenson's a vet. He's the one with the big contract. I do still expect Stevenson to start the game, and if he's going to be involved, I think it's going to be early. right? They're going to give him like the veteran start. They're going to give him like the first drive and stuff like that. But yeah. Also, man, this is also like kind of like a narrative-y thing a little bit, but the Patriots last week in week 1, Drake May had 46 passing attempts, and Patriots running backs had 12 rushing attempts. Um, Mike Vrabel's the head coach here, and yes, obviously they had Derrick Henry in Tennessee, but Vrabel's just one of those like Dan Campbell football guys, high T guys, establish a run, play good defense. Like that's like the type of coach I envisioned him to be, and he definitely was that way in Tennessee. There's obviously a ton of quotes from McDaniels, Vrabel, like we got to run the ball more, we got to run the ball more. I think this is like a prime spot for like the Pats to like overcorrect here, especially early in the game. It's like, okay, like we got to establish a run, got to get these guys some touches. Let's do it early enough. And I think they come out really run heavy after, just how crazy they were passing the rock, especially because I don't think that's a team that they want to be either under Mike Vrabel. So I think that they're going to come out of the gates super run heavy. I think that it's still going to be Stevenson in the first quarter, getting most of the touches over Henderson. And lastly, guys, they're playing the Dolphins. The Dolphins defense looked like complete shit. Patriots should be able to sustain drives against the Dolphins. They probably looked like the worst defense in the league last week, if not, bottom 3, bottom 5 for sure. So should be able to sustain drives. Should be able to be decently efficient on the ground. Obviously, in hindsight, that Eckler over first quarter, I should have just played Krosky Merritt under. Because of the Packers are going to be one of the better run defenses in the league, and we saw a glimpse of that and how they slowed down Gibbs and Montgomery. And don't have that concern here with Ramondre. So going with Stevenson over 7.5 first quarter rushing yards. I actually really like this one. So hopefully that one can come to fruition. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. 5 props right there. I think I'm sitting at like plus 4.7 units or something to start. I'll of course recap that on the Monday Night Football video after this week is over. But yeah, let's keep it going, man. Definitely gonna keep on looking at props, and if I find some tomorrow, like 3 or more, I'll probably make another video and just share them. So yeah, if you guys enjoy this type of content, if you guys like the plays or whatnot, make sure to drop a like and sub to the channel. It is greatly appreciated. So thank you guys all for tuning in. And I will catch you guys next time, whether that's going to be Monday or maybe even Sunday.